jump us to slide 2, and I'll invite Lisa Bagnaluri, Saskatchewan Soccer President, to bring greetings on behalf of the board. Lisa?
Thanks, Doug. So on behalf of the board and staff, I want to welcome all member organizations back on the call tonight. With the number of COVID cases on the rise, we must continue to do our due diligence and to ensure that the guidelines are being followed. And if there's a positive case, that all organizations are prepared with contact tracing documents and an emergency action plan. We're now seeing in other provinces the effect of the inclining cases on sport, as restrictions are once again being increased and organizations are required to move back to earlier phases of their plans. We continue to appreciate all the hard work being done to ensure soccer can be offered in a safe manner in our province, and your organization's commitment to continue to make decisions in the best interest of your participants and society as a whole. With the release of the Saskatchewan's hockey return to play plan, staff continues to work with the business response team to ensure that the sport guidelines for soccer are aligned and that any questions or contradictions are clarified. Tonight we'll go through the updates to the return to soccer plan since our last call. We'll also discuss what's coming up in the next couple of months. I just want to say thank you again for continuing to join us on these calls and for all your continued hard work. With that in hand, I will hand it over back to Doug, and he'll go through our agenda for tonight.
Thank you, Lisa. So I see Danielle has joined us from Saskatoon Adult. Welcome back, Danielle. So I think for the most part, Nicole, everybody is familiar with the logistics, but if you just want to jump on that slide for just a second, that would be great. So again, mute yourself for optimal sound quality, rename yourself and identify your organization. Use the comment box if you wish, or raise your hand to be recognized and acknowledged. So thank you, everybody. I think for the most part, except for Danielle, most of the folks have been on the call before, so please let us know if you need anything. So we'll jump to the agenda, Nicole, and primarily focus on return to soccer with a number of other updates for you at the end of the agenda in various areas that you can see. So we'll jump to slide 6, Nicole, and we'll get it right into the return to soccer plan. So again, I just want to echo Lisa's comments and thank all the member organizations for their work to make soccer possible. Obviously, it's a very, very difficult time and unusual circumstances that we're all working through, and without your efforts, certainly, our athletes wouldn't be out participating in soccer like we certainly want them to do. So we've had no major updates since September 25th, and we had anticipated updates from the province in some regard here. Without having any specific details, we were hoping that there would be updates prior to the elections, but it appears that that's not going to be the case. In just a second, I'll update on some things that are going on in the other provinces and also talk a little bit about the SAS hockey guidelines. So you can jump into the next one, Nicole. So just around the province, we had a call with Canada Soccer. We continue to meet every 2 weeks. And we also meet with SAS Sport on a similar level every couple of weeks. And so many of the provinces on the call today are facing increased restrictions. Either they're in place already or they're planning to have them come fairly soon. So New Brunswick, Quebec, I think is well known to people that they've gone into what they call a red zone. So in those areas where vast majority of the Quebec population is in the major cities, no organized sport or recreational activities, with very few minor exceptions. Ontario, the 3 major hotspots have been identified as Toronto, obviously, and then a number of other regions, Ottawa, and etc. Winnipeg, which of course was sort of a shining star for the longest time, have really struggled here, and they're back to phase 2 training only now. And they didn't express confidence that they would actually have competitive games before the new year. They are hopeful, but at this point they're concerned that in the major city, Winnipeg at least, that they're stuck in training only for a while. Alberta government has taken a very different approach. they've asked for voluntary restrictions to be imposed, but have noted that if the restrictions don't work, if people don't take them seriously, then the province will have to put new enforcements in place. That's the kind of majority of comments from provinces that are dramatically affected with change here in the last few days or weeks from across Canada. Obviously in Saskatchewan, the cases are increasing, 160 new cases on the weekend. Contact tracing is becoming a major concern to Dr. Shahab. And so as a result today, you saw that there's an announcement that household gatherings are going to be reduced from 30 to 15. There's some commentary on some of the major outbreak areas where the guidelines have not been followed, and Dr. Shahab and the health authorities are issuing fines, apparently. So the big news that we were hoping for was that we hope that the guidelines, we knew that BRT and Sask Health was working directly with Sask Hockey. And we had thought that the guidelines may be updated to align with the work they're doing with Sask Hockey. However, that's not been the case. Sask Hockey's been approved for their plan. And currently Sask Hockey is in alignment with the posted guidelines in what they call their phase 1 and phase 2. As of November 1st, I believe, their guidelines will go beyond what the hockey guidelines will go beyond what the provincial return guidelines are currently saying. And that is certainly of interest to all the other sports. So it appears, again, that Sask Health has worked directly with hockey. And I believe what's been happening is that they are going to use hockey as a pilot test organization and give them some additional guidelines or reduced restrictions potentially, and then see how the case numbers react. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but this is conversations amongst some of the other sports that they were trying to get these guidelines in place. Because of the elections, they weren't able to, and they weren't able to post them, but they decided to post hockeys and approve hockeys, which is very unusual. So certainly we're monitoring that very closely. And I was on a call today just at 10 after 6 with the executive director from Business Response. And so we have an update that we want to do, and we'll jump to that next slide, Nicole. And then at the end of this slide, we'll pause and ask questions about some of the stuff about return to play. And then we have some more slides later on. But so as you know, we worked very closely with the BRT, and we facilitated the call with BRT and Sask Health on September the 2nd. At that time, both organizations confirmed that there are no guidelines to prohibit participation in more than one mini league. Since then, Sask Health is now pulled back on that statement, and if they're asked, they're going to comment that individuals must maintain one mini league per sport. Now, if you remember in our commentary, the guidelines, there is no guidelines to prohibit participation in more than one sport, but again, Sask Health has now come out and indicated that we should be maintaining one mini league per sport. So we know that impacts a number of you, and I've stressed very significant concerns that we have on behalf of the member organizations that this is now a reversal of what they told us on September 2nd. And so Dale Daniels, again, is the executive director of the BRT, and he has offered support. So if anybody wants to speak about that tonight on the call or offline with me directly, and I will do my best to make sure we get a meeting to discuss your circumstances directly with the BRT in the next few days if this is a major concern for anybody. So again, as we stated on September 4th or whenever that communication was, the 4th or the 5th, again, what Dr. Shahab is saying now is that we should be minimizing the contact, and it's really time to double our efforts to maintain healthy standards. So just a reminder for us all to be very diligent. We know that you are, and we know that you're probably very confused about what the guidelines say. And I can tell you that we're certainly feeling the same way. And I would suggest that the staff at the BRT are also feeling that. So with that, Nicole, I think I'll pause and just ask if there's any questions about the first couple of slides we talked to and return to play here.
This is Rochelle from Hollandia. I have 2 questions.
Yep.
My first question is, if an area or like the designated zones that the Sask government has for tracking how many cases are in that region for COVID,
Yep.
if one of those regions had a significant increase of cases of COVID, would Sask Soccer be like, putting restrictions in that zone, or would it be a whole provincial, like wide, if you guys are making a decision that we have to all go back to phase 1, is that going to be like based on the region and the number of COVID cases in that specific region, or will it just be a blanket across the province?
Again, so I can't speak to you precisely to your question, but I'll speak to it as best I can, Rochelle. Okay. So we're seeing in other provinces a regionalized approach. Okay. Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, etc., New Brunswick, all feeling the pinch of high case rates in certain areas. And the other provinces are using a color code. I have not seen that in Saskatchewan yet, but they have green, yellow, orange, and red. Mm-hmm. And for example, Quebec has gone into the red zone. Manitoba is into orange, which restricts them from playing games. New Brunswick has some in orange and some in yellow. Ontario has 3 major areas in orange, which puts them into training only. So going to your question, first off, we don't really provide decisions on behalf of anyone. We just try to give you the interpretation that comes to us from BRT and public health. So we would not be commenting on anything or restricting play in regions unless we were directed to by public health or the BRT. So that was the first part of your question. Was there a piece of that, Rochelle, that I missed?
No, but I have another question.
Go ahead.
With Sask Health on the slide saying they're publicly stated that individuals must maintain 1 mini league per sport.
Yep.
Does that mean they can't do an outside academy and club, or how is that being interpreted, that statement?
Again, so ultimately you guys the member organization have to interpret the statements. And I can tell you, I feel at a complete loss today to tell you how to interpret anything. I'll just be very frank with you. And I will tell you that without talking out of school, that Dale Daniels, who is the BRT executive director, feels very similarly. Again, with senior leadership at Health, they were working towards something which has now been reversed. And so obviously with the election, we're not sure that there's going to be guideline updates anytime soon. And with this belief that this Sask Hockey is sort of a pilot, and Sask Hockey's plan is predicated on COVID cases not increasing so that they don't move, either prohibits them moving from one phase to the next. So that's very interesting stuff. So at the end of the day, we will have to wait and see what comes of these folks and what comes of the conversations, because I'm quite confident that the folks at BRT are very frustrated with the folks at public health. And we just don't have any way to monitor how the election has impacted progress against potential guidelines that we were working towards, that we thought we announced on September 2nd, for example. So Rochelle, in there, I believe I missed your precise question, so please ask again.
Oh, I was just wondering if they're saying publicly stated that individuals must maintain 1 mini league per sport.
Yep.
Is that they have to make a decision between like an outside academy or club, or can they do both still? Like, how is that?
Again, each of the
interpreted ourselves?
And the MOs are going to have to make that decision based on what we've told you today, right?
Yep.
So what I'm telling you is there is no guidelines that prohibit participation in more than one mini league.
Yeah.
There is none. However, we know that fines and contract tracing are things that they're going to be very interested in. And we know that Dr. Schaub is tending towards saying that we want less contact and more. So ultimately, each member organization is going to have to decide. It's going to be very difficult now for the individuals. So I mean, I'll tell you, we're at a loss as to what to tell you. All we'll probably be able to state is that SaskHealth is now publicly stated individuals must maintain 1 mini leagues per sport. And at the end of the day, people will have to make choices if that gets ramped up and enforced, right?
Okay.
So that was a long way of saying that. Do I have a precise answer? No. But what I want to stress for you, and I don't want to give a false economy on this, Rochelle. We were working for some time trying to get that guideline upgraded, and certainly working directly with Dale and his team at the senior leadership level of BRT and SaskHealth. So it could be that as soon as the elections come along, this actually gets clarified, and it could be that the first line is true, that there are no guidelines to prohibit more than 1 mini league.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also be that if they continue to monitor cases and if it keeps ramping up, that they're going to restrict more, which we all really know. So until the printed guidelines come out, again, we're feeling like we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So anyway, sorry about that, Rochelle. I'm glad to take any other questions anybody has about the first couple slides here. Obviously, we know that some members will be impacted and you're going to have to make some choices. I can't tell you whether you should react quickly or not, because things may change. But I think you should understand the nature of what you have going on and how many people that may impact, and have your due diligence on contact tracing, obviously, and understand that. And again, I offer, if anybody wants to talk to me directly offline, send me a note or give me a shout, and we will try to get together with BRT to see if we can find a solution. So that's the last part of that I want to stress, Rochelle, is perhaps you shouldn't do anything except get back to us and tell us where you might have problems, and then we'll get a hold of BRT and ask them to come up with a solution, because they don't want to reverse this any more than we do. But that's sort of the situation we're in, and Dale Daniels has offered that we could try to have some private meetings as we need.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a difficult day in this regard. So, Nicole, if there's no other questions specific to what I've done, I'll let you go through the next couple of slides, which again, I think in a similar tone, the interpretation of the guidelines are very difficult right now. Go ahead, Nicole.
Thanks, Doug. So I'm going to go through the changes that have been emailed out since the last member discussion, and to see if we have any questions with those. So the first one is changing mini leagues between seasons. There was questions about this because in the guidelines, it said that 1 mini league must stay together. So we confirmed with BRT that outdoor soccer, indoor soccer, and futsal are considered different sports with different rules, different seasons. So therefore, they can have separate mini leagues. So that allowed for us to go from outdoor to indoor. We were talking previously about a washout period between seasons, or even during a season, which would be a 2-week or more break, where teams in a mini league can be switched up, and that has not yet been approved yet. But that's something that we continue to see clarity on. And then coaches, referees, and volunteers, whether they're included in the mini league numbers. So we confirmed in the last month that only a coach, referee, or volunteer that maintains 2 meters social distancing at all times and wears a non-medical mask, avoids contact with the players and equipment, is not considered to be part of the 50-person mini league. So there's some considerations that go along with that. For coaches, It's difficult for a coach to maintain social distancing at all times, and therefore we recommend that you at least have one coach on every youth team that is part of the mini league numbers. And then referees, you can't expect a referee to wear a mask and still have the same performance level as they would without a mask. So that's something to be considered as well. And then equipment. So when we say above that they can't handle the equipment if they're outside the mini league, that is during the practice or a game or the activity. That doesn't mean that they can't bring the balls or sanitize them before the practice or afterwards. And then this was a big one for some people, mini league size for larger game formats. We were able to get approval from the BRT to increase the mini league format from 50 to 80 people for 9v9 and higher. So this allows for 4 teams to be played within an 80-person mini league bubble for those game formats. And then also recently, we sent out some emergency action plan resources. It's very important, especially as cases are on the rise right now, that all member organizations have an emergency action plan in case there is a case within your organization. So we have those resources available on our website if you go under COVID resources. And we also have a crisis communication guide, which is really helpful, and it can give you some ideas of what you should be communicating with your membership if something were to happen. So with that, I will open it up again for any questions.
Amanda.
Hi, I'm wondering if you could go back 2 slides, please.
This one, Amanda?
Yeah, that one. The first sentence, when roster sizes do not allow for competition to occur within a mini league of 50. So does this mean that you can only do the 9v9 or 11v11 if you're unable to do the smaller sided games? Or is, I want to make sure I'm interpreting that right.
Oh yeah, no, you can do the larger formatted game. It's the 80-person is allowed for the larger formats because you wouldn't be able to have a competition at those larger formats with 50 people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. And then in terms of the season changeover, I know you guys are still working on that one with the BRT. That one is concerning to us because we have split the indoor season into 2. And right now our season is going to be ending on December 17th with a 2-week break. And then we'll be starting a new winter season January 3rd. It's going to be a whole new registration period opening in November. Currently, we don't have players registered for the start of January.
Yeah, and that's definitely one that we need more clarity on, and that's something that hockey has within their plan as well, is a 2-week washout period. So we're gonna see if we can get some answers on that fairly soon.
Okay.
That one,
Thank you.
again, because there's an appearance publicly that Sask Health has approved hockey's plan. It's really, I talked to Sask Sport as well today, and they're very confused and frustrated as well because but when I spoke to BRT, we should not assume that the rules that apply to hockey apply to all sports, even though that's what Dr. Shahab seemed to imply on Thursday. Hockey potentially could have an impact, positive or negative, on all sports is the way I'm understanding it. Obviously, there's a lot of politics involved in hockey with the WHL and the SJHL, and it got some very high level attention. But yeah, everybody, BRT, Sask Sport, SSA, and of course, I'm sure all of you are quite confused about what's happened here since the hockey plan is announced, and then there was no updates to the guidelines. So again, Dale Daniels has just expressed his sincere apologies to us about that and offered our support one-on-one or offline through direct meetings if we need. But yeah, let's just hope that the COVID cases stay good. Otherwise, obviously, we're going to probably follow the trend of other provinces and fall further back. So other comments or questions, Nicole, or anybody in regard to return to play? Amanda, go ahead.
We've got, like, we have one school for sure in Saskatoon that has shut down for the next week and a half.
Yep.
Just wondering about any guidance on how that impacts players that are attending that school that are at home now. I'm just wondering if they, like, guidance on whether or not they should be allowed to play soccer if they're symptom free.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you at that level, Amanda. We can certainly ask if you'd like. We haven't received any direction in regard to that at all.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind that asking the question, that would be helpful. 'Cause I don't believe we have anything in our return to soccer plan in terms of if the school shuts down and whether that impacts the player or not if they attend that school. And I'm not sure the schools have anything like that in their plan either, that when a school is shut down, whether or not their students are restricted from any outside activities or not. So I think there will be a lot of questions coming from parents of those affected students and players.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I mean, there's quite a difference between the school shuts down and a kid is part of that school, or are the kids getting tested and cleared, Amanda? I just want to make sure I understand that, or do you have that information?
I'm not entirely sure if every single student in the school is being tested and cleared or not. I believe they're just in self-isolation, like the entire school,
Okay.
until October 23rd, I believe it is.
Well, I would suggest, again, I'm not speaking from anything I would know, but if somebody has been directed into self-isolation, then I would suggest that that's what that means, right? And so I would suggest they should certainly not be involved in sport. But do I know that that's what the ruling would be? I don't know that. But now that you use the phrase self-isolation, if that's what the school directed the individuals to do,
I would have
then-
to find out the exact wording that
okay.
I'm
So-
not sure.
If you can send more detail before we check and give us the name of the school and that kind of stuff, that would be appreciated.
Okay, I will do.
Is there anybody else out there that has schools shut down that we need to know about? And then I'll come to Chad right away.
Hey Doug, it's TJ here for the FC Regina.
Okay.
We didn't have a school shutdown. Like, we were lucky. I think there were two schools. One is Winston Knoll was a staff member, and they actually didn't tell the students to get any testing done or anything because the person was just in the office, and the other one was a cleaning staff in another school, elementary school, and same thing. It was a staff, so they didn't actually tell the students or the staff to get the testing done. So we are just following the SHA guidelines, whatever they are being told, and then we're just following that basically. So.
Thank you for that update, TJ.
No worries.
Anybody else on schools before I go to Chad?
Well, Doug,
Chuck,
I'm a-
yeah. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say we should get you in here sooner than later. Thanks.
just to talk about like the schools wouldn't have any jurisdiction on community events, so
Okay.
schools can't say no, you can't go to that, and they wouldn't be able to provide any information based on contact tracing. That would have to come all from Sask Health.
Right.
Through LA FOIP, we wouldn't be allowed to kind of give any details in terms of student sickness and that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So if our schools were shut down, it would be basically the advice of Sask Health, and people would have to follow that.
So Chad, do you think though, or have you seen anything yet where schools the students in schools and the staff have been told by public health to self-isolate?
No, just we've been told to self-monitor for symptoms for 48 hours.
Okay.
And then gone from there. Like our cases are pretty low in the Southwest at this point.
Right.
But I'm sure that would change if we had people that were, if there was someone that was positive in the school and then other people were getting tested, I would assume that would go to self-isolate instead of self-monitor.
Right. Okay, thank you, Chad. I see Rochelle's hand up.
I was just gonna say, a girl I know was exposed in her school in Saskatoon to a classmate who tested positive for COVID. They were in a class together, and she was directed to self-isolate for 14 days. She had to stay in her bedroom at the house. The only time she could leave her bedroom was to go to the bathroom for 14 days. So if there's a case in the school, like the health region here is directing anybody who was in close contact with the teacher or student or staff member that they have to self-isolate for 14 days. So I would hope parents, if the kid is self-isolating, that they're not letting them go to sports.
So, and if they were to do the assessment, right, then they would have to say they have been in contact, so they would not be eligible. They would have to. We're counting on every individual to do that assessment, right? Before each contact, right? And
Yeah,
they would have to identify themselves as somebody who is now self-isolating. So they would have to eliminate themselves. That would be my impression.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody? Nicole, do you want to do a checkup or updates with folks? Is that where we're at?
Yeah. So before we move off of return to play, we'll just go through and get an update on everyone about how your indoor season is going and where you guys are at. So I will just start at the top of the list with Rochelle here. I'm trying to unmute you. Oh, Rochelle, do you want to unmute yourself? Here, I'll move on to Amanda and we'll come back.
Hi, yeah, Saskatoon Youth Soccer just started their first set of league games tonight. It was the first opening day of our youth leagues, our under 11s and under 13s. I believe several mini leagues started practicing in the last couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, but so far so good.
Perfect. Thanks, Amanda. Chad?
Our indoor season starts Monday the 19th. And our numbers are pretty low in the sense of our city numbers, so we fit within the mini leagues quite well.
How are your registrations?
I think we're up 7 from last year.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Thanks.
I know you're just back, Danielle, but do you have an update for us?
Yeah, we start on Friday is when our league opens, but our numbers are good. They're about half of what they typically would be, but they exceeded our expectations, so we're pretty happy about that, but we'll see how things go starting Friday.
Perfect. Thanks, Danielle. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's try Rochelle again.
Sorry, I had a coach stop and pick something up. I had to run.
No worries.
What?
Oh, well, you need
So
to know the question.
Yeah.
We're just getting an update on how your indoor season is going so far.
Well, games start tonight, so I guess we'll have to wait and
Yeah.
see how things go. So lots of questions from coaches in regards to how the season is working and how, like, making sure they're doing contact tracing and how they want to do, like, how we want Hollandia to do it and stuff. So
Right.
a lot of questions like that. And I think a lot of vibe is people are just really happy to be back at soccer. So
Perfect. Thank you. TJ.
Yeah. So yeah, our youth season kind of started end of September there with evaluations and all. And our adult season started. The adult season, indoor season part 1 started October the 2nd. Things have been good. People are happy to be back. Got really good comments from people with the whole setup, and just people are happy with everything. So our youth numbers kind of stayed the same, and we're still getting inquiries about playing, but right now we just have no room with the mini leagues and all. So we actually have to decline the members now, unfortunately. And adult numbers seem something similar to like Saskatoon. We are half of what we usually are, but we are happy with what the numbers are, because we were not expecting this to be this many people. So happy there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, TJ.
Awesome.
I don't think I missed anybody here.
No, I think you got it, Nicole.
Perfect.
Again, we appreciate everybody's patience, and we're going to do our best working with BRT and try to give you up-to-date information as fast as we have it. And we'll just keep posted and just ask for what you need. So if there's something we can help with, we'll do our best and try to get answers for you. And just appreciate that during the election, the answers may not come as fast as we would like. And hopefully the case numbers will reduce and we can get where we need to get. Amanda, thank you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add quickly here what the youth numbers are like in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
We're down 65% in our community association team numbers, but our zone numbers are strong. We only saw about a 15% decrease, 15%.
Okay.
So we're happy with those numbers, and we're hoping that more community associations will come on board for the winter season in January.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate that, Amanda. So again, ask questions as you need throughout the rest of the presentation. Just obviously, we've just initiated our recruitment for the board nominations. 6 positions available. We've been grateful for everybody's support the last few years. We've had elections for 2 years in a row. The board is obviously looking for people that have the background to contribute. And Lisa, do you have any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I mean, you have it up on the slide there, Doug, but obviously our board is right now looking specifically for people with potentially a legal background. We're always looking for people who have an interest or are working in the communications, public relations, marketing, those kinds of things. But being that we're a non-for-profit governance board, people who have governance background or interest, strategic planning as well. So yeah, 6 positions available. So if you know any good candidates, get them to put an application or a nomination, in by December 15th.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll go to the next one, Nicole. So again, we've communicated as of last Friday, and this is another area of concern for us that we wanted to make sure we're open and transparent about this with you. So obviously in spring, while you folks were planning return to soccer and developing your plans, we communicated based on our discussions with Knight Archer, who had conversations with Markel, who's the major insurance provider, that we had a COVID exemption on our policy. And as soon as that announcement was made, we tried to get that in writing and tried to understand more about the details of it so we could ensure we knew what to tell you folks. We pursued that over a couple of months, and finally now Night Archer has confirmed with an apology, which you guys have seen as a Friday, that in fact was not true. So there is no exemption on our policy at the moment. There will be an exemption as of January 1, 2021. And so claims, if there was any COVID-related claims, they could be attempted to be pursued. As we commented in the communication, this type of cases have not been tested in the courts yet, and whether or not a claim would actually get through, or if it could be proven that it was COVID-related, is yet to be determined. But as a result of this substantial oversight or error on the part of the Night Archer employee, we have initiated a request for proposal. Amanda has asked me to look into AIG, and thank you for that, Amanda. So we have asked Night Archer to do some research on AIG, which is being offered through Hockey Canada. AIG is an insurance provider like Markel, who are providing COVID coverage for liability. We have no idea what the cost would be or what the coverage would be at this point, but we will determine that through the RFP process. So again, on my behalf, on the board's behalf, we apologize for this information that went out. It will be, again, the exemption will be in place as of January 1st. But this is certainly a major piece of work we've had with Night Archer. We've had decades of quality service from Night Archer, and this is something that we're quite concerned about. So we wanted to make sure we were transparent to you guys about this. So if there's any questions, I will try my best to answer them. All right, thank you. Nicole, I'll pass it on to you then.
Thanks. So last week we released our new and improved benefits document. It's available on our website and it's linked in last Friday's communication as well. So we just ask that you share this with both your membership, and if you are aware of any non-member organizations near your community, we would love them to see it as well. So awards and recognition, it's that time of year again to get your nominations in for awards. We understand without any outdoor major competitions last year that some of the awards might not be awarded this year, but we want to make sure we don't miss out on any deserving candidates as well. So we are still offering awards in all categories except for the PSL awards, obviously. And new this year, we have the Member Organization of the Year Award. So we want to give it to one of our deserving member organizations, maybe one of you. And it celebrates a member organization that's a good partner, provides quality, innovative, and inclusive programming, and benefits the game in their community and in the province. So nominations are the forms available on our website, and they will be accepted until December 15th. And then the November member sessions. So traditionally, these are held over a weekend in November. We can obviously not do that this year, so we are moving them online, and we are going to be holding them throughout the month of November. So there's going to be both daytime and evening sessions, mostly evening sessions, and we are going to have that schedule out to you soon so you can register. There is one session that has been released already as part of the member sessions, and that is how to manage your technical direction. And I'm going to hand it over to Rahim to talk about this a bit more.
Thanks, Nicole. Hello, everyone. So in regards to this specific session, we had initially had, as a part of our AGM weekend, Paul Varian coming in to deliver a workshop on the Friday, which was how to develop your technical plan, and then on the Sunday, how to manage your technical direction. The initial Friday session has already been completed over the span of the last week of April and the first week of May, and now we're going to be moving on to the how to manage your technical direction. This is aimed at board members, general managers, executive directors, technical leads that are part of organizations. There's no cost for participation, and it'll be held on Zoom from November 1st from 6 to 9, November 8th, 7:30 to 9. We'll invite all participants into a Google Classroom where we will have access to the slides as well as recordings for this workshop. So if someone is unable to, for example, make the 1st but can make the 8th or vice versa, we still encourage them to participate. I would say that the two workshops really go hand in hand. And so in similar vein of us inviting or opening up participation to beyond just technical leads for how to develop a technical plan, the same holds true here. I think the better both sides can understand what the expectations are or what is realistic from a technical plan perspective, but also managing a technical direction perspective, it allows for sometimes more of a symbiotic relationship between the notion of technical and administrative within an organization. So we really look forward to having people participate. I know the turnout in April and May was fantastic. Obviously, COVID had sort of taken our worlds by storm, and Zoom workshops were all the rage at that time. And I know that there's definitely a bit of Zoom fatigue that has occurred since then. But we certainly look forward to hosting and engaging with everyone on the workshop. And we've definitely taken away a few things in terms of making the workshops more interactive after Paul had helped to deliver or had delivered the first one. So we hope to see you there. And if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raheem. So coming up in November, or I guess it starts at the end of this month, Canada Soccer is going to be running e-national championships competition. So for all the video gamers in your organization, this would be an exciting opportunity for them. So they're running two versions, one on Xbox and one on PS4 for each province and territory. So we will be getting more information on this week, some promotional materials, and we will pass those along to you so you can promote it to your membership. So we just ask that you wait until you get those before you send anything out on it. And with that, we'll open it up for any questions again. Nope. Okay. So just an overview of some upcoming dates. October 16th is the bylaw amendment submission deadline. The bylaw consult will be part of the November sessions, but a date hasn't been determined for that yet. October 31st is the deadline for SSA's female development, referee development, and coach professional development deadlines. So if you have anyone that's a good candidate for those, make sure they get their form in, or you can submit it on their behalf as well. And just a reminder, if you submitted something through MAP Grant, you can't submit it through one of these forms. So if you want to take it off your MAP grant, there's still time to do that, but I would need to know right away, or just don't submit one of these grants for the coaching or referee education, whatever it is. Again, November is the fall member sessions. November 1st and 8th is the managing your technical direction. November 9th is going to be our next member discussion, and that is a Monday instead of the regular Tuesday. We just moved it to Monday with Remembrance Day being on the Wednesday. And dates for the other sessions will be released soon. And then December 15th, deadline for board nominations and the recognition awards.
Nicole, are all those links live for the like the grant applications?
This is not a live link in here, but the forms are available on our website. So if you go under either the referee header or the coach header, then you can find the forms there.
Okay, maybe I was missing something. I'll try again. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicole. Check in last chance for questions or comments from anybody. We do appreciate the folks that have been on the call. The numbers are small, but we appreciate the folks that have come and regularly on the calls and help us and to work through the scenarios and for us to understand what you guys are going through. If you need anything, please let us know. And we'll certainly be in touch as soon as we know more. With that, Nicole, I want to thank all the members from the member organizations, all the reps, the board members for being on the call tonight, and all the staff for being on. And we very much appreciate your time, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.